Hey YouTube, what's up? Dr. T here, and welcome to my hometown, St. Petersburg, Florida. We are located on the central west coast of Florida by Tampa Bay and in the Gulf of Mexico on the west side of the county. Take a minute to have a look at St. Petersburg in all its wonders, a piece of paradise to live in. If you are new to my channel, take a look around. You will find everything for one-stop shopping in the playlists. So here I'll tell you how I evaluate the purchase of an altcoin from start to go. Oh, that's very bright, isn't it? So coming over to my portfolio, my leading candidate right now is XLM. So I'll take you out the way. And XLM is on a nice little buy-up, and we will go and use XLM as an example of a altcoin that has been purchased and wise therefore of. So this is what I do. You can do the same, see how it works out for you. Get on the website tradingview.com, set up a indicators altered to whatever specification you want. I fiddled around with these. I have a DEMA. Go and hit this button here. You can change these. So I've fiddled around with these and got them to a point of where I want them, and a TAMA, which is another one, and you can do the same. So this is it really doesn't matter, a 50-hour moving average, this is a 500-hour moving average, or whatever. The purpose is to set it up such that it tells you what you need to know, not that it's any specific. So let's go and have a look at this stock right from the beginning. So it's a new stock. We'll take a look at it on the big world, XLM. So let's come out here, not there. XLM. We're a bit bright here. Let's just cut this down. So let's have a look at XLM on here. We get the big picture. So the stock is relatively new. Well, actually, it's not relatively new. It does go back quite a ways into the big rage in the 2017 of getting into altcoins. I particularly try and look for things that have a profile that is somewhat different from the average. 3 months. So that's 3 months. Remember what that looks like. Where's Ethereum? So see that for 3 months. Ethereum's got a sort of a similar pattern. I mean, I've tried to find those that are somewhat differentiated. So it's regional chart showing it doing some. Let's move out a bit. So it's come down. It's found a base. That's a good foundation for deciding that it's worth purchasing from. So back in here, we can open up the big window. Now I've set the red line. I just kept changing the value until it showed me the big swings, because I wanted, I mean, this menu here don't tell you very much. I wanted to tell me exactly when the market had changed on the long term. So, you know, although you can see it visually, you know, you just really want to know, you want to have a long range indicator so that you see a crossover like here, a crossover between the short term and the long term indicator saying you're going down, and when it crosses back over, you know you're in a reasonably good territory. So for instance, also another indicator to have on here is the volume index. Now you can find these under here. If you haven't been here before, come over to volume index. Where is it? Volume index. No, what are you doing? Volume index? Anyone? Where is it? It's supposed to be here. Well, there is a volume index because I've got it. I don't know. What? Oh, volume vortex indicator. I thought there was a volume index on there. Well, as far as I know, there was a volume index on there. And I've set this to 15 for whatever reason. I fiddled around with it. But the point being is the decision that there is a buy-in is a correlation between, now the mauve line is the amount of sells, the blue line is the amount of buys, and the blue line goes positive as the amount of buys is higher than the amount of sells. When you have that, and you have your price of your coin going above the green line and the green line going above the red line, you are in solid buy territory. So one likes to try and preempt this. You know, you say, well, that's going good, this is just starting to turn here, so that might be a good place to get in. Looking at the overall picture first, so the trend is now starting to solid up on the red line. So, you know, you might come in here and then decide what to do about it. If you feel that it's good for the long term, and I kind of will keep these for the long term and not worry about this, so it goes down a bit. You're looking for, you know, 25% minimum, leave it in there. So coming over here, which is where I bought it in just last night, so this time frames are different. So I bought it in about 1 o'clock in the morning. Now this is a very, blow this up a bit. You need to leave this on a 45, what have I got here? This is on a 45 minute. Do not take it off of 45 minutes, screws it all up. It doesn't give you the same evaluation. So I did this whole analysis of how to make the selection based on the 45 minute. They're very stable. You don't need to look at your stock every 5 minutes. They'll go up for days. And this is a nice little trend. Blow this up. It's a nice little trend line. The buys and sells are following the 50-hour moving line, whatever that thing means. I just changed the number until it fits somewhere in the pattern, such that I can see the overshoot of this. I'd adjusted that number such that when this shoots above the market and really starts to tank up there, then you know it's time to get the frickin' hell out of there. So if it does that, then you know you can assess how much above it goes. It's a big point in terms of getting it out. So that's how I've evaluated all of the stocks that I've purchased as being valued to be a buy or not buy. So let's take a look at I don't know which of these I've got now. They're all in my portfolio. So yeah, this is what you'd kind of do. You'd come into a stock and you take a look at it, and you'd back out, take a look at the big picture, and look at the big picture. There's the big picture. Okay, so it's done a big downside, it's reached its baseline, and it's starting to move up. Now, I'm not in this at the moment. I mean, you go, that's interesting. The red line is showing some strong tendency to the upside, so there's definitely the picture you want to see. And it's had a buy up, a nice sell down, held. So now, if one was in money, which I will be shortly, I would evaluate this as a buy. It's a buy on the basis that it has finished a long-term downside. It's going on a presumably long-term upside. Its current fluctuations are very positive. You've got a big upside. You had a sell-off. kind of thing you want to see. You don't want to see this spiking up and then just crashing, and it's in good territory. It's just been bought up. It's doing a solid consolidation. So this is a wonderful place to kind of come and buy into this, put whatever you want in there. So that's a kind of an evaluation of the first one I picked up that's worth getting into. We can go and see others that I have some that are set on no, some that are set on monitor. So this is a relatively new stock. It's come down to its base. It's been bought up. It's turning. Now I wouldn't advocate this as a buy. I want to see this red line turn around. I want to see this drop off, and when they start to correlate, then it's in a buy situation. Right now I wouldn't want to be buying into this. I want to see some change there. Let's do another one. Do a few just to get you some perspective. Okay, it's a new stock. It's come down. It's just been bought up, and there you go. There's that transition. It's being traded sideways. So here we go, is another beautiful example of a stock to get into. So you just do this with all of them. It's going blue, it's going green, it's wonderful. This is definitely a place where you can quite happily get into, and then you don't worry about the nickel and dime stuff. You know, what did this go up? What is this? How many days? 4. These 4-day segments. So 4, 8 days. 8 days. This is what? 3, 6, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. I mean, 50% upside. Let's just work out what it is. 17, 34, 44, 50 odd. 50% upside, ladies and gentlemen. 50% upside right there. And there's many like this. You just have to follow them along, look for the characteristics. Perfect buying situation. Stock just come up 50%. It doesn't matter with these altcoins. Nobody concerns about it going up 50%. It's going to go sideways and it's going to ramp up again. So here's another one. AE, things are looking along right crux pathway to have a buy-in. Go buy it. Then hold on to it. In fact, you wouldn't even want to sell it if it had gone up here, because this thing is early in its days. You can just keep it in, hold it long term. Or if, I mean, you certainly wouldn't want to buy this off on this little dip here, sell this off on this little dip here. I mean, it's somewhat of a guesstimate as to whether it's going to bomb out or not. You know, you just have to go with the flow, follow it a little bit. So, you know, it's come off its peak, see what it's doing. It's not doing the classic drown trend. Bottom, held the bottom, moving up. So it's doing the classic regrouping, ready to go forward. I mean, if this was trending down here, then you'd say, hey, so I've lost a bit of my upside, time to get out. So there's the kind of an approach I take, and you can follow along, do what you want, but I think this is a good basis from which to start.